Betrayal, an invisible blade that cuts deeper than any wound, leaving scars that linger in the soul forever. Here at Zenlight 8, on our journey toward inner peace and radiant strength, we're diving into the 3 most devastating betrayals in relationships, acts that don't just shatter trust but challenge the very core of who you are. Drawing from the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, where self-respect and serenity reign supreme, we'll uncover how to recognize, confront, and rise above these wounds. If you're ready to forge an unbreakable spirit and shield your inner light from toxic shadows, this is a lesson you can't afford to miss. Join Zenlight 8 as we illuminate the path to wisdom and resilience. Let's begin now. Betrayal and Stoicism, the unseen wounds and the Stoic response. 1. Betrayal, a wound deeper than any physical pain, leaving scars that last forever. Betrayal is not just an event, it's a violation of the soul. It's a wound that cuts deeper than any blade, more enduring than any bruise, because it strikes at the very essence of what makes us human. Our ability to trust, to connect, to believe in the goodness of others. When someone you've let into your inner world, someone you've entrusted with your vulnerabilities, your hopes, your unguarded self, turns that trust against you, the pain isn't fleeting. It lingers, festers. It leaves scars that don't fade with time, because betrayal doesn't just break a moment. It reshapes your entire perception of reality. You don't just feel the sting of the act itself. You feel the echoes of it in every relationship that follows, in every quiet moment when you question whether you can ever trust again. This is the true weight of betrayal. It's a wound that time alone cannot heal. Physical pain has a beginning and an end. A cut bleeds, then scabs, then fades. But betrayal? It's a shadow that clings to you, a silent thief that steals your peace long after the betrayer has walked away. Imagine giving someone the key to your home, only to find they've burned it down from the inside. That's what betrayal does. It takes the sacred space you've offered and turns it into ashes. And the scars it leaves aren't visible to the naked eye. They're etched into your mind, your heart, your ability to open up again. You might smile, you might move on, but deep down there's a mark. A quiet reminder that someone you believed in chose to wound you in a way no weapon ever could. In the realm of Stoicism, this depth of betrayal takes on an even greater significance. The Stoics, thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, didn't see the world through rose-colored glasses. They understood human nature for what it is: flawed, selfish, and capable of profound harm. But they also believed in something greater: the power of the self to rise above that harm, to find peace not in the actions of others but in the strength of one's own character. To them, betrayal wasn't just a personal affront. It was a test of your resilience, your principles, and your ability to hold fast to what matters most, your inner tranquility. And yet, within this philosophy, there's a line, a boundary that, once crossed, demands not forgiveness but closure. Because some betrayals aren't mere missteps to be brushed aside. They're deliberate acts that strike at the core of trust and integrity, the very foundations upon which all meaningful relationships are built. The Stoic lens: why some betrayals cannot be forgiven. Stoicism teaches us to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. It's a philosophy grounded in reason, in facing the world with clear eyes and a steady heart. We cannot control what others do. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But acceptance doesn't mean tolerance. It doesn't mean lowering your standards or pretending that every wound can be mended with a kind word or a second chance. There are betrayals so severe, so fundamentally opposed to the principles of trust and integrity, that to forgive them would be to betray yourself. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship worth having. It's the unspoken pact that says, I will honor you as you honor me. It's the glue that binds friends, lovers, families, the invisible thread that makes vulnerability possible. Integrity, meanwhile, is the compass that guides that trust. It's the commitment to act with honor, to align your words with your deeds, to respect the sanctity of the bond you've formed. When someone betrays you, they don't just break that trust. They shatter the integrity that held it together. They show you, through their actions, that the principles you hold dear mean nothing to them. And when that happens, the Stoic response isn't to cling to the wreckage, hoping to rebuild what's been lost. It's to recognize the truth. Some lines, once crossed, can never be redrawn. Consider a friend who slanders you behind your back, weaving lies to tarnish your name while smiling to your face. Or a partner who vows fidelity, only to seek comfort in someone else's arms. Or a family member who sacrifices your well-being for their own gain, knowing full well the cost to you. These aren't accidents. They're choices, deliberate, calculated decisions to prioritize self-interest over the bond you shared. In the Stoic view, such betrayals aren't mere lapses in judgment to be excused with a shrug. They're revelations of character. They tell you who that person truly is, beneath the masks they wear. And once you've seen that truth, you can't unsee it. To forgive it, to welcome them back into your life, isn't an act of grace. It's an act of self-sabotage. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote, "No one can be happy who has been thrust outside the pale of truth." When someone betrays you in a way that violates trust and integrity, they thrust themselves outside that pale. They choose a path of dishonesty, disloyalty, or disrespect that's incompatible with the kind of life a Stoic strives to lead, one rooted in virtue, clarity, and peace. Forgiving them might feel noble in the moment, but it comes at a cost, your own well-being. Every time you let a betrayer back into your circle, you hand them the power to wound you again. You signal that your trust is disposable, that your integrity can be compromised. And that's a price no one should pay, not for the sake of appearances, not for the sake of history, not for the sake of anything. The lasting scars, how betrayal reshapes you. The damage of betrayal doesn't end with the act itself. It's not a single blow you can shake off and forget. It's a ripple that spreads outward, touching every corner of your life. When someone you trusted turns against you, it's not just them you lose. It's a piece of yourself. You start to question your judgment. How could I not have seen this coming? You start to doubt others. If they could do this, who else might? And worst of all, you start to doubt your own worth. Am I not enough to deserve loyalty, honesty, respect? Betrayal doesn't just scar your heart. It scars your worldview. This is where Stoicism offers its greatest gift: perspective. The Stoics didn't deny the pain of betrayal. They acknowledged it, felt it, and then chose to rise above it. Epictetus said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Life is full of suffering, betrayal included. But suffering doesn't have to define you. The scar it leaves doesn't have to become your identity. Instead, it can become a lesson, a reminder of what you value, of what you'll never tolerate again. The Stoic doesn't dwell on the wound. They learn from it. They don't let it fester into bitterness. They let it forge them into something stronger. But here's the catch. Learning from betrayal doesn't mean forgiving it. It doesn't mean pretending the scar isn't there. It means accepting that some people, by their actions, have shown they don't belong in your life. The friend who betrayed your confidence, the lover who broke their vows, the kin who chose greed over family, they've made their choice. And your choice as a Stoic is to protect your peace. Not out of spite, not out of vengeance, but out of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius put it best. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. You don't stoop to their level. You don't waste your energy on hatred. You simply walk away, carrying your scars as badges of wisdom, not burdens of pain. The foundation of meaningful relationships. Trust and integrity aren't optional in relationships. They're essential. Without them, there's no depth, no authenticity, no real connection. A relationship without trust is a house without walls. It might look fine from a distance, but it collapses under the slightest pressure. A relationship without integrity is a promise written in sand, beautiful until the tide comes in. When someone betrays you in a way that uproots these foundations, they don't just damage the bond, they destroy its very possibility. And that's why some betrayals can't be forgiven. Not because you're vengeful, not because you're weak, but because you understand what a relationship should be: a mutual exchange of respect, loyalty, and truth. The Stoics knew this. They didn't waste time on hollow connections. Seneca advised, Associate with those who will make a better man of you. That's the standard. Surround yourself with people who honor trust, who live with integrity, who value you as you value them. When someone proves they can't meet that standard, when they betray you in a way that shatters the principles you hold dear, your duty isn't to fix them, it's to let them go. Because a life built on shaky ground isn't a life at all. It's a prison disguised as companionship. Moving forward with stoic strength. Betrayal will scar you. That's inevitable. But it doesn't have to break you. In the Stoic tradition, every wound is an opportunity to grow, to refine your boundaries, to reclaim your peace. Some betrayals don't deserve your forgiveness, not because you're incapable of it, but because they've shown you a truth you can't ignore. They've revealed a person who doesn't belong in your story, and the strongest thing you can do is write them out of it. Not with anger, not with tears, but with the quiet resolve of someone who knows their worth. So let the scars remain. Let them remind you of what you've endured, what you've learned, and what you'll never accept again. Betrayal may wound you deeper than any physical pain, but in the hands of a Stoic, it becomes a forge, a place where resilience is tempered, where peace is reclaimed, and where the soul emerges stronger than before. Walk away from those who betray your trust and integrity, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom, because in the end, your peace is worth more than their presence. 3 severe betrayals that should never be forgiven. A Stoic guide to protecting your peace. Betrayal is a wound that doesn't just pierce, it shatters. It's a force that upends the foundations of trust, integrity, and connection, leaving you to pick up the pieces of a life you thought you knew. In the Stoic tradition, where inner peace and self-mastery are paramount, some betrayals stand out as unforgivable, not out of spite, but out of necessity. These aren't petty slights or forgivable errors. They're deliberate acts that reveal a person's true nature and demand a response rooted in wisdom, not weakness. Today, we'll break down 3 of the most severe betrayals in relationships: disloyalty, deception, and broken trust. These are violations so profound that to overlook them is to invite chaos into your life. Let's explore each one, understand its weight, and learn the Stoic way to rise above it. 1. Disloyalty, the ultimate violation of trust. Loyalty isn't just a nice-to-have. It's the heartbeat of every meaningful relationship. It's the unspoken vow that says, "I've got your back, no matter what." Without it, there's no trust, no security, no foundation to stand on. Disloyalty, then, isn't a minor misstep. It's the ultimate betrayal, a conscious choice to turn against someone who believed in you. It's the friend who whispers poison about you when you're not around. The partner who breaks their promises for a fleeting thrill. The family member who trades your well-being for their own gain. These aren't accidents born of confusion or weakness. They're declarations of character, bold and unapologetic. Picture this. You've poured your heart into a friendship, shared your fears and dreams, only to hear later that this same friend has been tearing you down behind closed doors. Or imagine a partner who swore to stand by you, only to seek solace in someone else's arms the moment temptation called. Or a sibling who, faced with a choice between honesty and profit, picks the latter and leaves you to bear the cost. These acts of disloyalty don't just hurt, they dismantle the very idea of connection. They tell you that your trust was misplaced, that your loyalty was a one-way street. And that realization cuts deeper than any words can express. In the Stoic view, disloyalty isn't something to rationalize away. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This doesn't mean you strike back with venom or sink to their level. It means you refuse to let their betrayal define you. But it also means you don't pretend it didn't happen. The Stoic response is clear-eyed and resolute. Accept the reality of what they've done. See them for who they are, and remove them from your life. Not out of anger, but out of necessity. Because disloyalty isn't a one-time slip. It's a pattern. A friend who slanders you once will do it again when the stakes are higher. A partner who cheats doesn't suddenly discover fidelity. A relative who prioritizes self-interest over family won't hesitate to repeat the choice. Forgiving disloyalty might seem noble on the surface, like a grand gesture of compassion or strength. But Stoicism rejects that illusion. To forgive someone who's proven they can't be trusted isn't kindness. It's a signal that your boundaries don't matter. It's an invitation for them to betray you again, knowing the consequences are negotiable. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." Disloyal people don't fit that mold. They drag you down, erode your peace, and force you to question your own worth. The Stoic doesn't waste time on false hope or empty promises. When disloyalty rears its head, you don't negotiate with it, you walk away. This isn't about holding grudges. It's about protecting what's sacred. Your inner circle should be a fortress of trust, not a revolving door for those who've shown they don't belong. History with someone doesn't justify their presence. Loyalty does. And when that loyalty is broken, the damage is irreversible. You can't unknow what you've learned about them. You can't rebuild a bond on sand. The Stoic way is to let go, not with bitterness, but with clarity. Move forward. Surround yourself with those who honor you in your absence, and never look back. Disloyalty doesn't deserve your forgiveness. It deserves your indifference. 2. Deception. The poison that destroys relationships. If disloyalty is a dagger to the back, deception is a slow-acting poison. It doesn't just wound, it corrodes, eating away at the trust and clarity that hold relationships together. A lie isn't just a misspoken word. It's a weapon, a deliberate attempt to twist reality and bend it to someone's will. When someone deceives you, they're not just hiding the truth. They're manipulating you, reshaping your understanding of the world to serve their own ends. And that's a betrayal far worse than a single act of wrongdoing. It's a calculated assault on your dignity, your autonomy, and your peace. Think of the friend who assures you they've got your best interests at heart, all while feeding you half-truths to keep you in the dark. Or the partner who spins a web of excuses to cover their tracks, each lie piling onto the last until you're drowning in doubt. Or the colleague who smiles and nods while quietly sabotaging your work for their own gain. Deception takes many forms: omission, distortion, outright falsehood, but its essence is the same: a choice to prioritize self over honesty. It's not a mistake born of fear or confusion. It's a decision to control you through dishonesty. And once that choice is made, the relationship is poisoned beyond repair. Stoicism places truth at the center of a virtuous life. Without it, there's no stability, no trust, no foundation for connection. Seneca warned, "A dishonest man spreads falsehoods first to others, then to himself." The liar doesn't just deceive you. They trap themselves in their own delusions, unable to face the reality they've twisted. But their self-inflicted consequences don't absolve the harm they've done to you. When someone lies, they show you that your trust is a tool to be exploited, that your respect is disposable. And respect and deception can't coexist. One must give way to the other. The moment someone chooses dishonesty over integrity, they've chosen their path, and it's not one you should follow. The damage of deception isn't in the lie itself, it's in what comes after. A single lie plants a seed of doubt that grows into a forest of uncertainty. You start to question everything they've ever said, every promise they've made. Was it all a facade? How much of what you shared was real? That mental burden, the constant second-guessing, the erosion of clarity, is a weight no one should carry. And yet, some will argue that lies are harmless, that everyone bends the truth now and then. Stoicism rejects that compromise. A lie that breaks trust isn't trivial. It's a fracture in the soul of the relationship. It's a power play, an attempt to keep you blind while they pull the strings. The Stoic response to deception is unflinching. Detach. Don't waste your energy trying to unravel their motives or extract the truth from someone who's already proven they won't give it. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." A liar isn't interested in honesty or growth. They're invested in their own narrative, their own control. You can't change that, but you can change your proximity to it. Walk away, not to punish them, but to preserve yourself. Forgiving deception doesn't make you strong. It makes you vulnerable. It tells the deceiver that their poison is tolerable, that your peace is negotiable. It's not. The only way to safeguard your inner tranquility is to cut ties with those who wield lies as weapons. Let them tangle themselves in their own web. You've got no business staying caught in it. 3. Broken trust, the irreparable damage that ends all bonds. Trust is the cornerstone of every relationship that matters. It's the quiet confidence that lets you lower your guard, share your soul, and build something real. Without it, there's nothing, just a hollow shell masquerading as connection. When someone breaks your trust, they don't just chip away at that cornerstone, they demolish it. And once it's gone, the bond it supported crumbles. Broken trust isn't a crack you can patch with apologies or time. It's a chasm that changes everything. Takes years to build, moments to destroy, and often a lifetime to heal. And in many cases, it's a wound that never fully mends. Trust isn't just about honesty. It's about reliability, consistency, and integrity. It's knowing that the person you've let into your life will honor the space you've given them. When they betray that, whether through disloyalty, deception, or outright harm, they don't just hurt you. They shatter the very possibility of what you had. Imagine confiding in a friend, only to find they've sold your secrets for gossip, or relying on a partner, only to discover they've been living a double life, or leaning on a family member, only to watch them turn their back when you need them most. These aren't small betrayals. They're earthquakes that leave nothing standing. Stoicism teaches us to see people as they are, not as we wish them to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When someone has done you wrong, do not dwell on what they have done, but on what you can do in response." The mistake most make is believing trust can be rebuilt, that an apology, a promise, or a few good months can erase the damage. But the truth is harsher. Once trust is broken, it's never the same. You can glue a shattered mirror back together, but the cracks remain. You'll always see them even if you pretend otherwise. Every word they say, every action they take will carry the shadow of doubt. Are they lying again? Will they hurt me again? That uncertainty isn't peace. It's torment. And no one deserves to live in it. The Stoic doesn't cling to false hope. When trust is broken, the response isn't blind forgiveness. It's self-preservation. If someone's shown they're capable of betraying you, why gamble on their redemption? Would you sleep soundly in a house with no locks, just because the thief promised not to return? Trust, once lost, isn't a gift you hand out again. It's a privilege they've forfeited. Even if they beg, even if they swear they've changed, the damage is done. You'll never look at them the same way. You'll never feel the ease you once did. And that's not your failure, it's theirs. They chose to break what you built. They chose their desires over your bond. And choices have consequences. Seneca put it starkly, "He who spares the guilty punishes the innocent." Forgiving broken trust doesn't just let them off the hook. It punishes you. It traps you in a cycle of doubt and pain, sacrificing your peace for someone who didn't value it. The Stoic way is wiser. Walk away. Not with rage, not with tears, but with dignity. Accept the lesson, strengthen your boundaries, and refuse to let the same betrayal strike twice. Trust is sacred. When someone proves they don't deserve it, they don't belong in your life. Move forward, not to forget, but to grow. The strongest act of self-respect is knowing when to let go. The Stoic path forward. Disloyalty, deception, broken trust. These are the betrayals that cut deepest, the ones that demand a response. They're not misunderstandings to smooth over or mistakes to excuse. They're deliberate acts that reveal a person's core. In the Stoic tradition, you don't waste time on those who've shown they don't belong. You don't forgive out of obligation or cling out of fear. You accept the truth, protect your peace, and move on. Not because you're cold, but because you're wise. Your dignity, your tranquility, your self-worth. They're worth more than any relationship built on sand. These betrayals leave scars, no doubt. But scars aren't weaknesses, they're proof of survival. Let them remind you of what you've endured and what you'll never tolerate again. The Stoic doesn't seek revenge. They seek strength. Walk away from the disloyal, the deceptive, the untrustworthy. Build a life where betrayal has no foothold. And never look back. Stoic principles when facing betrayal, a path to peace and strength. Betrayal is a storm that crashes into your life uninvited, tearing at the roots of trust and leaving you to sift through the wreckage. It's a raw, undeniable force. one that exposes the fragility of human bonds and the unpredictability of those we hold close. In the face of such upheaval, Stoicism offers not just a shield but a compass. It's a philosophy forged in the fires of reality, designed to help you navigate the chaos without losing yourself. When betrayal strikes, the Stoic doesn't crumble or lash out. They stand firm, guided by principles that protect their peace and affirm their worth. Let's explore these principles. Accepting human nature as it is, rejecting revenge in favor of serenity and self-respect, and recognizing that forgiveness, while noble, must never come at the cost of your well-being. This is the Stoic way to face betrayal, not with weakness, but with wisdom, accepting human nature and reality as it is. The first pillar of the Stoic response to betrayal is acceptance, not of the act itself, but of the truth it reveals. People will fail you. They will act selfishly, impulsively, cruelly. They will choose their desires over your trust, their comfort over your dignity. This isn't a pessimistic view, it's a realistic one. Stoicism doesn't sugarcoat the world. It strips away the illusions we cling to. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. Life is messy, and humans are messier still. To expect otherwise is to set yourself up for endless disappointment. When a friend spreads lies about you, when a partner breaks their vows, when a loved one turns their back for personal gain, it's tempting to ask, why me? How could they? But the Stoic turns that question inward. Why am I surprised? People are driven by their own natures, flawed, inconsistent, and often self-serving. Betrayal isn't an anomaly. It's a possibility woven into the fabric of human interaction. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He didn't say this to despair, he said it to prepare. To accept human nature is to arm yourself against its sting. This acceptance isn't passive resignation. It's not about shrugging your shoulders and letting betrayal slide. It's about seeing reality clearly, without the distortion of wishful thinking. You might wish your friend had been loyal, your partner faithful, your family honorable, but wishing doesn't make it so. The Stoic looks at what is. The friend chose gossip over loyalty, the partner chose infidelity over commitment, the family member chose greed over kinship. That's the truth, unvarnished and undeniable. And once you see it, you can act on it. You don't waste energy fighting the facts or mourning what could have been. You move forward with eyes wide open. This principle is liberating. It frees you from the trap of denial, from the endless cycle of if only and maybe they'll change. People show you who they are through their actions, not their words. When betrayal happens, it's not your failure to foresee. It's their failure to uphold the bond. Accepting that doesn't mean you excuse it. It means you stop letting it control you. The Stoic doesn't dwell on the betrayal. They acknowledge it, learn from it, and let it sharpen their understanding of the world. Reality is your teacher, not your enemy. Embrace it, and you'll find strength where others find only pain. No revenge, only serenity, self-respect, and cutting out the unworthy. Betrayal ignites a fire in the gut, a primal urge to strike back, to make the betrayer feel the weight of their actions. It's a natural impulse, one that whispers they hurt you, so hurt them back. But Stoicism rejects that path. Revenge doesn't heal, it consumes. It pulls you down into the same mud the betrayer wallows in, staining your peace with their filth. Marcus Aurelius offered a better way. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. The Stoic doesn't repay betrayal with vengeance. They rise above it, preserving their serenity and self-respect. Imagine a friend who's betrayed your confidence, spilling your secrets to anyone who'll listen. The instinct might be to retaliate, to spread rumors of your own, to expose their flaws, to even the score. But what does that gain you? A fleeting satisfaction, maybe, followed by a deeper emptiness. You've lowered yourself to their level, traded your dignity for a cheap shot. The Stoic sees through that illusion. Serenity isn't found in chaos. It's found in control, in choosing how you respond when the world falls apart. Instead of revenge, you turn inward. You steady your mind, reclaim your calm, and ask, what serves me now? The answer isn't payback. It's detachment. This is where self-respect comes in. Betrayal doesn't just wound your trust. It challenges your worth. It whispers that you're not enough, that you deserved to be discarded. The stoic silences that lie by standing tall. You don't need to prove anything to the betrayer. Your value isn't tied to their choices. Cutting them out isn't an act of spite. It's an act of honor. Seneca advised, associate with those who will make a better man of you. The disloyal, the dishonest, the untrustworthy, they don't meet that standard. They've shown they don't belong in your life, not because you're petty, but because you're principled. Letting them go is how you protect your peace and affirm your dignity. Picture a partner who's cheated, now begging for forgiveness with tears and promises. Revenge might feel good, exposing them, shaming them, but it's a hollow victory. The stoic response is quieter, stronger. You walk away, not to punish them, but to free yourself. You don't argue, you don't plead. You simply remove them from your world. They've proven they can't be trusted, and your self-respect demands better. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. The unworthy don't deserve your energy, your time, your presence. Cutting them out isn't a loss. It's a gain. You reclaim the space they occupied and fill it with something truer, your own strength. This principle is about focus. Revenge scatters your energy. Serenity gathers it. Self-respect builds you up. Vengeance tears you down. The stoic doesn't waste their soul on those who've already wasted their trust. They let go not with malice, but with purpose. The betrayer's actions are their burden. Yours is to rise above, unshaken and whole. Forgiveness can be noble, but not at the expense of peace and self-worth. Forgiveness is often held up as the ultimate virtue, a sign of strength, a mark of grace. And in some cases, it is. A small slight, an honest mistake, a moment of weakness. These can be forgiven without cost. But Stoicism doesn't preach blind forgiveness. When betrayal cuts deep, when it's deliberate, repeated, or shattering, forgiving can become a trap. It's not noble to pardon someone at the expense of your own peace. It's naive. It's not strength to let a betrayer back in. It's a surrender of your worth. The Stoic knows that forgiveness has limits, and those limits are drawn by self-respect. Consider a friend who's lied to you, not once but over and over, each apology thinner than the last. Or a partner who's betrayed your trust with infidelity, promising change while their actions stay the same. Or a family member who's exploited you, knowing full well the pain they've caused. Forgiveness might feel like the high road. I'll be the bigger person. But what's the price? You open the door to more lies, more betrayal, more doubt. You trade your tranquility for their comfort, your value for their convenience. Seneca warned, "He who spares the guilty punishes the innocent." When you forgive the unforgivable, you're not just sparing them, you're punishing yourself. This isn't about holding on to anger. The Stoic doesn't stew in resentment, they release it. Forgiveness, in the Stoic sense, isn't about reconciliation. It's about letting go of the emotional weight. You can forgive someone's humanity, their flaws, their failures, without giving them another chance to hurt you. The friend who lied, the partner who cheated, the kin who exploited, they don't need to stay in your life for you to find peace. True forgiveness is internal. You stop letting their betrayal define you, but you don't pretend it didn't happen. You don't invite them back to test your resolve. The line is clear. Forgiveness stops where your well-being begins. If pardoning someone means sleepless nights, constant doubt, or a diminished sense of self, it's not worth it. Your peace is sacred. Don't barter it away for the sake of appearances. Your worth isn't a bargaining chip. Don't hand it to someone who's already thrown it aside. The Stoic forgives what they can, but they never compromise what matters. A betrayal that violates trust, integrity, or dignity isn't a mistake to overlook. It's a signal to move on. Letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Keeping the unworthy close isn't strength. It's self-betrayal. The Stoic way forward. Betrayal tests you, but it doesn't have to break you. The Stoic principles. Accepting reality, choosing serenity over revenge, and guarding your peace above all. Turn that test into a triumph. You don't deny the pain. You face it. You don't chase vengeance. You rise above it. You don't forgive at your own expense. You protect what's yours. This is how you weather the storm. Not by bending to it, but by standing firm. When betrayal comes, see it for what it is, a revelation of truth. Accept the flaws of those who hurt you, but don't let them define your path. Let go of the urge to strike back, and instead build a life of calm and honor. Cut out those who don't deserve you, not out of spite, but out of strength. And if forgiveness tempts you, weigh it carefully. Your peace and worth are non-negotiable. The Stoic doesn't just survive betrayal. They grow from it, emerging stronger, wiser, and unshakable. That's the path. Walk it with purpose. At the heart of this journey lies a simple, powerful truth. Your emotional resilience is yours to protect. Betrayal, whether it's disloyalty, deception, or broken trust, reveals the toxic souls who don't belong in your life. The Stoic doesn't bend under that weight. They rise above it. Through the lens of Stoicism, you learn to spot those who drain your peace, who shatter your trust, who undermine your worth, and you let them go. Not with hesitation, not with regret, but with the quiet certainty that your well-being comes first. These aren't people to fix or forgive out of obligation. They're burdens to release. By recognizing their poison and walking away, you build a fortress around your spirit, one that no betrayal can breach. Strength in the Stoic way isn't about revenge, it's about indifference. It's not the loud roar of retribution, but the steady calm of moving forward. When someone betrays you, they expect a reaction. Anger, tears, a fight. But the greatest power you wield is to deny them that. You don't waste your energy on their chaos. You channel it into your own growth. You step away, not looking back, not because you're weak, but because you're whole. They've shown you their truth, and you've chosen yours. A life untainted by their shadows. That's the Stoic triumph. Not a clenched fist, but an open hand letting go of what no longer serves you. In essence, this is what Zenlight 8 stands for. Applying the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to face betrayal head-on. It's a call to place your value above all else, to refuse to tolerate those who destroy trust, and to carve a path of peace through the rubble they leave behind. You are not defined by the wounds others inflict. You are defined by how you rise from them. Protect your resilience, embrace your strength, and let no one dim the light you carry within. Betrayal may scar, but it will never break a soul that knows its worth. To every one of you watching on Zenlight 8, thank you. Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-mastery and inner light. Your presence, your thoughts, your shared experiences in the comments fuel this community of growth and wisdom. If this message struck a chord, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to keep walking this path with us. Together, let's build lives where betrayal has no power, where our strength shines brighter than any shadow. Until next time, stay resilient, stay true, and let your light guide the way.